right, ladies and gentlemen, it is your favorite dark sorcerer here. And today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Yule. In the old days, Yule was a holiday that was associated with the Norse king of the gods, Odin. It was referred to as the Wild Hunt. It was a 9 to 12-day festival to celebrate Kanunos, the horned god, the masculinity, the ending of the old and the beginning of the new. You see, Yule is the last solstice of the year. It resembles the longest, darkest night of the year. It is when darkness reaches its peak and its most potent and powerful form. These festivals were well known through Icelandic, Gaelic traditions, Anglo-Saxon, Germanic, specifically Proto-Germanic, Indo-European, not just Norse or Welsh. It was a holiday where you could go hunting and sacrifice the old. I'm not talking human sacrifice. I'm not talking animal sacrifice. No. I'm talking about all the baneful aspects of the year. Things that you really want to get rid of. Things that you want to shed. Okay? I am talking about the beginning. Certain times of the year in pagan and Wiccan traditions, they view it as the birth and rebirth, the death and life aspects of the year. The horn god is going out hunting for that mate, that new creation. To do that, he has to couple with the goddess, the birth, spring equinox, going into the birth. The god is supposedly living and dying. His duty requires him to go out hunting, to not just to reproduce, but to create new life. He represents all things masculinity. He represents nature in itself. Think of the Greek god Pan, god of fertility, the god of nature. Likewise, he too has a mate called the nymphs. History has depicted him as leaning against a tree or a rock playing a flute, while the nymphs, the nymphos, frolic around, creating and flourishing all of nature, the new creation, the birth and rebirth process seen yet again. But then the church took over, and now it has become associated with their God, Jesus Christi, corrupted, made into a mass, a specific time of communion. Don't you think it's time to get away from these JCI bullshit? Think about it. It is a good time to separate yourself from those lies and go back to the beginning. You see, the death of the old, no matter what it is within your year, this long year has been a trying time for many. You have half the country that was burning, the other half rioting, the political scandals. You have this coronavirus that has ravaged the world, supposedly killed off 85%, according to the CDC. 85%, that's about 85% of the populace. So why is there still so many humans running around? Think about that lie. So I want you to think about what went down in your life this past year. Perhaps you went to one too many funerals. Perhaps you lost several jobs, maybe your home, a loved one, all that negativity that's built up. Perhaps you were being hounded and harassed for most of the year, and you had to reach out to a practitioner that knew what they were doing just to rid you of that problem. You see, a lot of things happen throughout the year. It deals with jobs, it deals with friends, it deals with enemies, it deals with your family. It deals with so many different aspects that you suffer and you don't realize that you suffer. Yule was originally one of those celebrations where you celebrate the death of the year. Everything that went wrong, everything that was unfruitful, things that didn't agree with you can be tossed aside. I've gone to pagan rituals where they treat it like a watered down children's fantasy of a folkloric child's book. Think Yogi Bear versus Huckleberry Finn, where they frolic around in a circle, making animal sounds at the four cardinal directions, where they take a ring of thorns and they plant, or I should say, stick a leaf, a branch from a pine tree, perhaps an oak tree, depending on what it is. Sometimes they have berries, sometimes they are just tree branches, pine needles, and they shove it in that ring of thorns. You see the resemblance to the JCI yet again upon the brow of their god, the son of. But yet this here resembles nature, the flow, the give and take, the good and the bad, the balance. Here, you make the change. You envision the coming year. What is it that you hope to gain during that year? How would you go about hunting it, stalking it, creating it? Would you give that seed freely to make it happen? Or would you try to force those proverbial doors open and get nowhere. You see, the old Vikings, the old Norse practitioners, they drank, they were merry, they did a lot of things. And yes, even the mistletoe was a part of them because it's one of the 9 rare herbs, the rare plants that they viewed as being holy. It was the top of the very top of the beanstalk of herbs and plants. Today, when we think of the mistletoe, we think of our significant other or a coworker or whatever, a friend, and you sit there and you have to plant one on them because supposedly you're underneath that little mistletoe and it represents love and yada yada yada. But I want you to think about this stuff. December 21st and 22nd, depending if it's a leap year or not, is the day that it will be fall. Normally it's the 21st, and it goes until the 1st of January, the following year, the next month. This is normally a huge ritual, a great banquet, a feast. It is where you get to gorge in the pleasures and the lusts of the world. Welcome to the old days, ladies and gentlemen. But now there's so many restrictions, you can't really do that. So I want you to think about this. I want you to look about at what you do have. Think of it as a plenteous, merry factor in your life, something that you've been blessed with by the gods. Now I want you to envision, what is it that you seek? What is it that you desire to have in your life? What is it that you truly desire in your life? Now I want you to think about this. How do you go about doing it? How would you approach even gaining one small seed, one small thread to muckle onto to make it happen, to manifest it into reality from a thought form? You see, having that thought form is a great way to envision. It's a great starting point, but you still have to plan. You still have to work towards it. You can petition the deities, the gods. Lead me to the right road, the left road, the right road, maybe that fork in the road. Shine thy light upon it, O Lucifer, the bearer of light, truth. Maybe even open that door so that I can walk through. You see, you can petition the right demons, the right deities, the right Loa, the right Ugan. And I can tell you firsthand that if you want it truly bad enough, you will seek it out and you will manifest it because it is your desire, your will. The gods will only open up those doors if your intent is true. To go forth, you have to know without a shadow of a doubt that you will succeed. You have to dare to take that first step. and you have to will it to happen. It's okay to keep silent upon that goal, that aim. In fact, it will actually benefit you. And when you have all your ducks in a row, then by all means, go forth into the night, into your ritual chamber. Give your offerings and your sacrifice. Call upon the deities that you will require for the next year to see your desire, your dream to come true. And then in the new year, start laying those bricks. Lay down that pavement and make wise choices that will benefit you into guiding you and directing you towards making that manifested desire come to light. Manifest it. Each step has a purpose. Each move has a purpose. Think of it as the art of war. Look at the Russian classic, War and Peace. Both of these go hand in hand. Sometimes it's not about talking. Sometimes it's more about acting. So therefore, you may want to go into Marcus Aurelius meditation. Take the oath of silence and go forth and just do. Because sometimes it's required, where talking is not going to get it done. So therefore, by all means, act and do what needs to be done. Other times require you to be diplomatic, perhaps persuasive. But remember the tools that you have. You are a sorcerer. You are a sorceress. You are the practitioner, the architect of your reality. The gods can only show you the door, but they will not walk you through it. Only you can do that. Prepare for war.